Bom dia, and welcome to Move to Portugal Daily, Episode 1, 2026-0520. I'm Mateus Costa with the Portuguese Pride Network. In the next 10 minutes, I'll give you exactly what you need on banking and moving money in Portugal, exact fees, transfer math, and the tax traps to avoid. Let's run the numbers.
Picture this. You walk into a Lisbon branch with a bank transfer confirmation and 50,000 euros sitting in your foreign bank. You expect to slide it straight into a Portuguese account and sign a property deposit. Instead, you hit 3 surprises. Paperwork you didn't bring, a branch that requires an appointment, and an unexpected 200 to 500 euros in fees and FX slippage that eats your deposit. That delay can cost you a reservation, a contract, or peace of mind.
Here's the promise. I'll show you exact euro ranges for account setup fees, transfer fees, and typical FX margins for 3 common transfer amounts, 20,000 euros, 50,000 euros, and 200,000 euros, and the 3 bank choices that make sense for Lisbon, Porto, and the Algarve. You'll finish this episode with concrete numbers and the 3 actions to move your money safely today.
Main point 1. Opening accounts and the NIF, step by step. First, documents you need: passport, proof of address from your home country, and your Portuguese NIF. Non-resident accounts are available, but banks will often require an appointment and additional ID checks. Expect account setup fees to range from 0 to 25 euros depending on branch and service level.
Practical examples. Millennium BCP tends to be user-friendly in Lisbon for newcomers and offers digital onboarding in some cases. Caixa Geral de Depósitos, CGD, has broad coverage and is useful if you need public bank stability for large transactions in the Algarve. Novo Banco can be a strong choice in Porto for property-related services. Timelines. If you have your NIF and valid ID, expect 1 to 7 business days to fully open an account in branch. Remote opening can take longer and may need additional proof of address. If you don't have a NIF yet, get that first. It's the single biggest time saver.
Quick note on the NIF and proof of address. The NIF, Número de Identificación Fiscal, is required for any banking relationship. You can get a NIF at a local tax office or through a fiscal representative. This often takes a day if you visit in person, or a week if done remotely through an agent. For proof of address, banks typically accept a recent utility bill or a bank statement from your home country, translated if requested. Bring both digital and printed copies.
Main point 2. Moving money. Exact math for 20K, 50K, and 200K. Start with the raw numbers so you can compare. If you use a traditional bank-to-bank transfer, expect fixed fees of roughly 5 to 15 euros per transfer and an FX margin commonly between 0.8% and 2%. Example, transferring 50,000 euros with a bank charging 1% FX margin costs you about 500 euros in FX alone plus a 10 euro transfer fee. Total, roughly 510 euros. Specialist providers save real money. Wise-style providers often charge a small fixed fee, say 1 to 10 euros, plus a percentage of the transfer at roughly 0.3% to 0.8%, depending on currencies and corridors. For that same 50,000 euro transfer, a 0.4% FX margin equals 200 euros, plus a 5 euro fee. Total about 205 euros, which is roughly 305 euros less than the bank example. For 200,000 euros, the gap widens. At 1% bank FX, you lose 2,000 euros, versus roughly 800 euros with a 0.4% specialist, a potential saving of 1,200 euros.
Here's a simple checklist to run the quotes yourself. 1. Get a live FX quote from your bank for the exact amount. 2. Get live quotes from 2 specialist providers. 3. Compare total landed euros after fees and FX. Always compare the delivered euro amount, not just the advertised rate. And remember, for urgent same-day transfers, you may pay more with either route.
Main point 3. Tax and residency interactions you can't ignore. A Portuguese bank account becomes evidence of local economic life, useful for residency proofs, rental contracts, and tax filings. For NHR, non-habitual resident applicants, holding Portuguese accounts is fine, but the tax triggers come from income sources and reporting. IFICA and other reporting obligations kick in if you have foreign investment income, and banks will request documentation for large incoming transfers that look like property deposits or investment inflows. Illustrative scenario. If you move 200,000 euros into a Portuguese account tagged as rental income or investment without proper documentation, you could face tax assessments, interest, and penalties. A conservative estimate. An unexpected tax assessment of 25% on undisclosed taxable income could cost you 50,000 euros, plus penalties and interest. That's why documenting the source, savings, gift, sale proceeds, and sharing it with your tax advisor when you register residency is critical. I'm not giving tax advice here. I'm showing why documentation matters. Action steps. 6 practical steps to set up your banking and move funds safely. 1. Get your NIF before anything else. 2. Choose the bank that matches your needs. Local branch access, Millennium, CGD, Novo Banco, or a fully digital bank. 3. Open a non-resident or resident account depending on your timeline. 4. Run live FX quotes for your exact amount with your bank and 2 specialists. 5. Document the source of funds and save transaction records. 6. Talk to a Portuguese tax advisor if you're moving 50K or more, or if you have complex income. 3 costly mistakes to avoid that actually happen a lot. 1. Opening the wrong account type and facing monthly fees or transfer limits. This can cost hundreds yearly. 2. Not getting the NIF before moving funds. That can delay access to your money and cost you contract deadlines. 3. Using a high-margin transfer service for large sums. That can cost you thousands on a 200,000 euro move. Listener tip. How to move a $50,000 deposit for a property safely. Step 1. Secure a reservation agreement with your lawyer and ask what proof they need. Step 2. Get a formal invoice or contract reference. Step 3. Run live quotes and send the money from a provider that delivers a Portuguese IBAN or uses SEPA instant transfer where possible. Step 4. Keep transfer confirmations and the origin of funds documentation for both the bank and your lawyer. If anything feels off, pause the transfer and confirm with your lawyer. It's cheaper than reversing a transfer later. Custom CTA. Download the free Portugal Money Setup Checklist and Bank Plus Transfer Cheat Sheet in the show notes at nomadlifesuccess.com. The checklist walks you through the NIF, account opening documents, exact quote templates to use with banks and specialists, and the sample wording lawyers ask for on deposit transfers. Use it when you run your live quotes. Don't guess. Quick recap. 3 numbers to remember. Account setup, euro to 25 euros. Bank fixed transfer fees, roughly 5 to 15 euros, plus FX margin, typically 0.8 to 2%, and specialist providers, roughly 1 to 10 euros, plus 0.3 to 0.8% FX margin. Use those ranges to run your quotes for 20K, 50K, and 200K, so you see the actual landed euros before you move a cent. That's your move today. If this helped, hit subscribe on YouTube and follow on your favorite podcast app. For more information, visit nomadlifesuccess.com. This is Mateus Costa, Saúde, and I'll see you tomorrow.